So, Stu, you're you like to play around with money and look for different ways of financing and everything else. See if this makes any sense to you. Joe Biden and First Lady Jill have been using their home as an ATM, taking out multiple mortgages and refinancing their Delaware property an astonishing 35 times. The president has lived in two houses in his home state since 1975 when he bought his first property in Wilmington that he later sold in the 1990s. But records obtained by DailyMail.com show the couple have had a habit of negotiating a new mortgage or credit deal on both homes every 17 months. Over the decades, the Bidens have borrowed a total sum of $6 million on both properties. There's still an outstanding $541,000 mortgage on their current 3-bedroom, 4.5-bath Wilmington mansion, nearly 30 years after they bought it. The constant refinancing raises the question of why. Why the Bidens, who have a reported net worth of $10 million, need a constant flow of extra cash. It doesn't make a lot of sense, says financial experts, unless they're desperate for cash. The revelation comes as questions grow about the president's involvement with his son Hunter's shady business dealings. According to the mortgage documents, the president and first lady purchased their current 4-acre lot for $350,000 in 1996, but have since saddled it with 20 different home credit agreements and mortgages totaling $4.23 million. Their previous 5-bedroom, 2.5-bath home in the same town was purchased for $185,000 in 75. It sold, strangely, controversially, for $1.2 million in 1996 by the head of one of the biggest employers in Delaware. Records show the property had a total of 15 mortgages and lines of credit attached to it. The Bidens also own a summer home in Rehoboth Beach, which they scooped up in June of 2017 for $2.7 million. The property has no mortgages attached to it yet. It was revealed last year to have been a cash purchase. The property data suggests the 46th president and his wife, 73, have needed money fast and have used their homes as equity as the main source of credit over the year. However, listen to this line. However, Biden, a career politician, and Jill, a college professor, are worth an estimated $10 million. Now, how does that happen?
It's so
that
weird.
Is weird.
You know?
Yeah, that is weird. He says it's from book deals. However, there's no record of him ever getting payment except for the signing bonus because nobody reads the books.
Yeah, it's fascinating because everybody who has way more money than they're supposed to have and, writes books claims that money came from book deals. And everyone else who actually writes books and knows anything about the book industry knows it can't possibly be true. Like, it's something that people say all the time. And like, if you're in the book industry, you know the mechanics of it. It's not, we've gone through multiple contracts with it, right? Like, it can be a good business. You can make some money on it. But the numbers that at the end of the day wind up coming out of that are only incredibly good if you're selling, millions of books. Like, it's not something you can just go like, oh, well, I sold 25,000 books and now I've made $4 million. That's not the way that book business works. It's hard to sell books these days. People don't like to read all that much. I don't know if anyone's noticed the country lately.
And I don't think that anybody's reading a Joe Biden book.
Right, and then we know the sales of these books. Joe Biden books do not sell well. Yes, he gets sweetheart deals, as you mentioned, Glenn, with big signing bonuses, much bigger than he could ever sell out. He doesn't ever earn a dime more because everyone knows going in what you're paying for. You're not paying for book sales with someone like Joe Biden. You're paying for some sort of marquee name. You're paying for God knows what kind of influence, all these other things that are associated and totally separate from him selling enough books to pay off the advance.
Okay, so why does he need all of this money? Why do you need all this cash? Now, I mean, I could have noodled it out, but I'm not ChatGPT. I don't have access to all information. So I asked ChatGPT, said, I'm writing a television show, and I have some questions. In this television show, the president is mortgaging his home over and over and over again, and gave ChatGPT some of the facts, didn't fill everything in, and then said, and also he has had loan repayments where there are no loans. There's no record of any of the loans. Okay. And he repays these loans to his family, and the family repays loans to him. Okay. So this is what ChatGPT came up with. And I think I'm going to start with the least likely, number 5. Gave me 5 reasons someone would do this, for the TV show. Debt manipulation. Constant refinancing can be a method to manipulate debt and create the appearance of legitimate financial activity. This could help in justifying the large sums of money received and repaid. Reason: the president uses refinancing to take out large sums of money, which are then cycled through as repayments to family members. This creates the facade of debt management, making it appear that the president is simply managing personal debt rather than engaging in any illicit activities. According to ChatGPT, number 4, tax evasion. Refinancing can provide a way to manipulate taxable income and avoid taxes on illicit funds. By cycling mortgages, the president could claim interest deductions and reduce their overall taxable income. Reason: the interest payments on the refinancing mortgages can be deducted from taxable income, effectively reducing the president's tax liability. The repayment to family members can be structured in a way that avoids declaring the foreign income, further aiding in tax evasion. Number 3, hiding assets. Frequent refinancing can be used to mask the true financial status and hide assets from investigators or regulatory authorities. This can help in evading detection of illicit funds. Reason: the president uses the equity extracted from the refinancing to pay off family members, who then transfer the funds back as loan repayments. This cycle hides the actual wealth and the source of the funds, making it seem like the money is tied up in legitimate debt rather than illicit gains. By the way, so far, nothing non-nefarious. ChatGPT didn't come up with a single non-nefarious reason. 2, creating a paper trail. Mortgage cycling can create a complex financial paper trail that makes it difficult for investigators to track the true source and destination of money. This can also help hide illegal financial activities. Reason: by refinancing frequently, the president can create a maze of financial transactions that obscure the flow of money. The complexity can make it harder for authorities to detect the link between the foreign payoffs and the repayments made to family members. Number 1. This is ChatGPT's number 1 reason for having, 17 mortgages and keep taking out large sums of money and remortgaging your house 17 times. Frequent refinancing of mortgages can be a method to launder illicit funds. By continually cycling mortgages, the president could introduce large amounts of cash into the financial system under the guise of legitimate loans, which are then repaid using money received from foreign payoffs. Reason: the president receives large sums of money from foreign entities through family members. To legitimize these funds, they are funneled into mortgage refinancing process. The constant refinancing and the large checks written for loan repayments help disguise the origin of the funds, making them appear as legitimate financial transactions. That's ChatGPT's opinion on why you might do what the Daily Telegraph has just revealed the Bidens do.
Yeah, no, if you asked it and put in Biden's name, it probably wouldn't give you any answer, right? Like
it wouldn't give you any answer.
You have to write it in a way like I'm writing a movie script.
Correct.
To get an answer on that. I mean,
and looking for legitimate reasons why you would do this. Why would a character redo this or do this 17 times, 35 times overall, but on one house 17 times? Why would that happen? Well, that's what ChatGPT came up with.
Right. And I mean, like, there are reasons to do it. Like, I guess, if you're, as the rates are falling, right, you might renegotiate your mortgage. Like I did my mortgage when rates were low, right? I did it once. Maybe you could even think potentially, because they fell so far from when he started, maybe you do it even twice, right? But like, you don't get to 35 with low interest rates.
No.
You don't get to 35 with an improving credit score. You don't get to 30. Like, there are reasons you might do it more than once, but I mean, you don't get to 35. Maybe what's interesting is, like, let's say you're a person who has, if you're Joe Biden, you have $10 million. And let's say that's locked up in, investments. Or I don't know. Like
he says it's pension, book sales, and investments.
Right. So, like, you don't, let's say you bought NVIDIA stock and it's gone up a lot and you don't want to sell it and take the tax hit. To access the money, you could take some of your equity out of your house to spend. But the issue with that, is you can't just keep doing it. You have to pay it back each time, which means that you have to have an influx of cash to keep paying off.
He would pay them off. He'd pay them off sometimes in months, sometimes in a year. He'd take out, $1 million loan and then pay it off within the year. Excuse me? On a teacher's salary and a public servant.
I know. Huh. And by the way, Glenn, I just want to point out the hypocrisy for a moment of a man who says he's got $10 million in investments and doesn't want to pay the taxes associated with the gains, right? Like, he's just avoiding the exact types of taxes he's proposing and trying to implement on everyone else, and saying everyone else is skipping out on their taxes. He's doing the exact same thing, and that is the best case scenario here.
I know.
The real truth seems to fit precisely with what we suspect Joe Biden is doing with his family members when it comes to essentially, allegedly, laundering money through international sources.
That's why when these people in Washington, D.C., say they're going after the rich, they don't mean it. They don't mean it. They don't mean the really rich and connected rich. They won't ever tax those people. They mean you. They mean the person that has just started a business and is starting to turn things around. Those are the people that they're really after. They will never go. As Donald Trump said, look, you don't like the amount I pay in taxes, then change the laws. Okay? He knows rich people can play the games of avoiding taxes, and they can shelter their money and everything else that helps them. They can do the things that Joe Biden did in the best case scenario from ChatGPT.